Hey everyone, today I prepared something special for you. You have been a lot to ask me what I was using on my archer class to deal that much damage in PvP, to beat warriors, to deal high damage versus bosses. You have everything in detail in that video. So let's dive into it. So first of all, I switched back to the Plume Monarch class. In fact, many players today are switching their class and they are going for a healer because you have a build that can instant kill the opponent in PvP, and that's really annoying, and that's why I decided to go with the Plume Monarch. So in a short interval of time, I can deal a crazy amount of damage on the enemy. Versus the warriors, I changed a bit my build and it's still working. I can beat them when they have the same amount of power as my own, and I'm gonna dive into it a bit later in the video. So let's first talk about my seals. I have most of my seals in attack, I have some in basic attack, and by the way, if you didn't know, on an archer class, when you upgrade that seal, it's not only increasing your basic attack, but also your combo and counter. I don't know why it's increasing your counter damage, but you have some combo, not a lot though, but still, so that's pretty nice to upgrade it. And then I have a lot of crit resistance, and it's really important to have a lot of crit resistance on your hero, because the more you have, the less the damage you are gonna take. In fact, I figured out that having a lot of crit resistance is gonna be better than having a lot of HP and defense on your character. Then I have some crit damage and HP and defense. I'm trying to balance everything, but a bit more on my attack, crit resistance, crit damage, and basic attack. I'm trying to avoid having too much basic attack damage, otherwise the warriors in PvP are gonna deal more damage to me. Okay, so then that's the gear I'm currently using. You have every piece of gear I have, and yes, I have a ton of supreme gear, but that's because I'm saving a ton of lamps to prepare for the new rarity coming on the 3rd of July. On every piece of gear I have some crit rate and combo, and that's mostly why I still have some supreme, because I wasn't lucky enough to obtain some Horus with both crit rate and combo, and it's better for my class, for me, to have more crit rate and combo than having just a bit more stats. In fact, you will have almost the same damage at the end, but a bit more when you have some crit rate and combo. In fact, it's more consistent on a long fight. That's the only piece of gear on which I don't have any combo at all. I have some skill crit rate. So in the future, in a few days in fact, I will improve my gear and have way better stats. These are the souls I currently have. Level 30 on most of them. I'm just not increasing the level of the counter one, which one is still level 2 because I don't need any counter at all on my class. I upgraded a lot my crit resistance because it helps me to survive a lot in PvP versus warriors. These are the 6 immortal souls I currently have. I have a 1 legendary affix, global basic attack damage 8%, basic attack damage resistance 3%, combo damage resistance 3%, skill damage resistance 3% as well, another skill damage resistance 1.5%, and global combo damage 6%. I would love to have mainly global combo damage with a legendary or at least mythic. That's my goal. I'm gonna try to reroll every single one until I have global combo at least 6% everywhere. Then these are the runes I have on my artifact. I'm still using some red ones because I wasn't lucky enough to obtain the corresponding purples I needed, or at least the stats were really bad. So I decided to go with the red ones. I tried to have some purples on the main stats of my class and level them first. As you can see, that one is level 20, that's the max level, and that one is level 22. Combo damage 600% and crit damage 600%. I was really lucky on that one to have a ton of global basic attack damage, but if it was global combo damage, it would be way better. On that one, I wasn't really lucky. Pal damage, boss damage, I'm not looking for that. I want to shine in PvP first, so I don't need these stats. Then on that one, level 12, I'm using some counter damage resistance. That's the best you can use on an archer for PvP, because warriors are gonna deal a ton of damage to you, and if you want to lower the damage, you need to go with counter damage resistance. That's really important. And then the others are flat HP, flat defense, flat attack. I have some extra boss damage, ignore stun, global combo damage, global basic attack damage, global combo damage again. more global combo damage, skill crit damage. For PvP, the best things to have for my class would be global combo first, more stun of course, more evasion. That would be perfect for PvP in my opinion. Then you have my talents. On the Fury tree, that's what I have. I maxed the attack, the HP and defense. I'm trying to do the same on the sorcery one. I currently have 20 in attack, 20 in HP. I'm currently upgrading my defense. And on the archery tab, these are the stats I have. I maxed out my attack, my combo first. That's the first I did before upgrading my other stats. And now I'm increasing my HP and defense. At the prayer statue, these are the stats I have. Only global combo, but unfortunately I still don't have only SSS combo. So finger crossed, I really do hope that on the next session I'm gonna have my triple S here. Or you can go with at least one triple S global attack, it might help you to deal more damage. In fact, you have almost the same result, so it's up to you to do what you want. Okay, now time to check my different builds for the different contents in the game. The first one is my PvP build. I'm using these skills. Yes, I'm not using the Worldly Snare anymore, I'm using that skill instead. In fact, you are gonna have more survivability, especially when you are gonna target warriors, and it's also gonna increase your damage. I have a lot of attack speed, I'm using both that skill and that pal, so I'm gonna have a lot of attack speed, I'm gonna deal more attacks during the fight, and so I have more chance to kill the opponent. Blitz, Assault and Disarm are mandatory, and the Smoke Bomb to increase the damage from every source. I'm using the deer to lower the damage I'm gonna take. That one is one of the best you have still today. I'm using the dragon and the cloud to have more skill crit rate. So when I crit, I have more attack at the beginning, and that's the best way to increase your damage at the beginning. In fact, that's just the best mount if you want to deal high damage on the few seconds of the fight. If you don't have the cloud, you can still replace the cloud by the big sword. You are still gonna have almost the same result at the end, but I figured out that I had a better chance to beat the opponent using both the dragon and the cloud drifter. I'm using the banana to increase my combo rate and my combo damage. That's the best one to use for the archer class. I'm using the rabbit to have a bit more crit rate and to launch the target. It helps a lot when it procs in PvP. I'm using the sword for the artifact, or sometimes I'm switching to the gun, but in fact you have almost the same efficiency with the two artifacts. If you have the machine gun, I'm pretty sure that you have the same result at the end. And I'm not using the side anymore, because when you are using a clone, he is dying in a second and you will inflict no damage at all on the target. So stop using the clone, use that skill instead. You are gonna have a better efficiency in PvP. And use the blade or the gun or the machine gun if you want. And then for the back accessory, I am using that one. I'm gonna have 5% more attack at the beginning, I'm gonna have an extra shield and more attack over time during the battle, so that one is the best one to use. The result is not far away from some others, by the way, so if you don't have the parachute, you can use another one instead. You are not gonna have a big difference, but I noticed that using that one I had a better result at the end. And then these are the relics I have, and the main ones are that one to increase your crit rate, that one to have more damage when you're under Blitz Assault, that's that skill, then that one to increase the duration of Disarm, really important, and that one to increase your attack over time during the battle. Then I'm using that Avian in PvP to reduce the duration of controls received by 15%. I upgraded its level and I have the debuff immunity, increasing the coefficient by 3.5%. So in fact that one in total is reducing the duration of controls on my hero by 18.5%. In 2 weeks maybe I'm gonna have the blue ox instead of the cloud drifter, and so I'm gonna have even more reduction on control duration. I want to try that, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna stay with the cloud after I have the blue ox, but I have to try that in 2 weeks. So let's try that build in PvP now. I'm gonna try versus different players. That's a martial sage with the same power as Ellie as always, so we are gonna practice and you are gonna see the efficiency of my build. Sometimes I can win, sometimes he wins, but it depends on RNG. But most of the time I win the fight. I won that time. Let's retry another time. Generally I lose when he procs multiple times the shield. I won again. I'm gonna try versus another warrior, martial sage, with way more power than I. Sometimes I can beat him. No clone anymore. and I was close to beat him. Let's try another time. Only one clone. Oh, and that was even closer. 2,300 more power. He had the 2 clones, and that was really close at the end too. And that time, I won. Let's try versus the strongest player of our server. That's a prophet, and generally, that guy can one-shot you. So let's try that. Okay, he didn't one-shot me, but I'm taking a lot of damage, and I can start dealing a bit of damage, but in the future, when I'm gonna have the blue ox, I'm gonna have way less control duration, and so I'm gonna be able probably to kill the mages. She has 4,000 more power than I. One shot. That's the build I was talking about. So let's try another time. Yeah, I have time to deal only one attack. So that class is not accessible to my class in PvP when the power difference is too big. But if I try versus someone with the same power, another prophet, let's see what happens. You see, you have exactly the same build, but once I am not controlled anymore, I can deal some damage and I can kill the target super fast. So in the future, when I'm gonna have the blue ox, I'm gonna have more chance to beat the prophets. Okay, I died, I was controlled, 29% stun. So one more time with the blue ox, it might change everything for my class. I was able to beat them before the Avians, because now they have that Avian, and every time they are gonna do a crit with a skill, it's gonna proc an extra AoE skill damage. When they are using the bat skill, that one, every time it deals one stage of damage, it crits, and so as you can see, I'm taking twice the damage, because that skill is activated all the time. That's a super strong combo. As you can see, I have another layer of damage every time the bat procs. If I try now versus the same class with way more power than I, let's try the difference. First clone. And there we go, the opponent is dead. And by the way, I don't know why he is using the Hydro Sprite. Second try, he is dead again. Let's try versus another one. He has a bit less power than I, but probably a better build than the previous guy. Okay, he had another clone, and that's the bug of the clone. You know, when you are using the Holy Dragon, apparently when you are summoning the second clone, then he is immortal. So let's retry another time. Yeah, you see the second clone, he's not taking any damage at all. Bug users. I really do hope that they are gonna fix that someday. Okay, let's try another time. No second clone at all, and normally he's dead. One shot. So when people are not abusing bugs, then generally I can win super easy. Now that's the build I'm currently using on the Lava Behemoth. It's a bit different, now I'm using the clone because it's gonna increase by a lot the damage you are gonna do, and the other skills are similar. I'm using these pals, the Hydro Sprite, because you will see that I can recover my disarm during the fight and it's gonna help me to deal more damage. I'm using that one to have 10% more crit damage, more attack speed, more combo rate and combo damage, and less damage when the boss is attacking me. I'm using the sword to increase my crit rate and crit damage, the gun to deal more basic attack damage on the boss and lower his crit resistance, and I'm using that back accessory to have a shield at the beginning and to increase my attack and attack speed later and my skill regen. So I'm gonna recover my skills faster. And I switched my book. Now I'm using the one to increase my damage on bosses. I'm gonna use that Avian instead of the other because with that one I'm gonna increase the damage taken by the opponent by 15%. And also I have some extra global combo on it and some more crit damage. And a pretty nice growth coefficient, so I have more stats. I have some delay on my skills. On the damage immunity only, I have 9 seconds. On the others, no delay at all. That's currently my best score using the clones, but you are gonna see that I might have a better score using the build I'm talking about. I tried it a lot this morning and you are gonna see the efficiency. So I start the fight, I deal a few damage, I have only one clone. Now the clone is dead, I'm starting to take some damage, I have the damage immunity, and if you check the disarm, sometimes I have time to recover it before. If it's not the case, I retry until it works. It depends on RNG. The clone is dead again. I took another attack, I have the damage immunity. And no, I died one more time, so let's try one more time. Okay, I had some evasion, so I still have all my HP full. I'm gonna have time to proc the disarm again. There we go, and now look at his health. He is dying super fast. And I'm close to have the other clone, and look at the final score. Now I have better than before. No Eye of Raven artifact, and no magic carpet. So no extra clone at all, and I have a better result at the end. I have a huge score, but the rewards are not increasing in fact. That's pretty sad. Now let's check my boss build. I mean other bosses than the Lava Behemoth. The Lava Behemoth is a long fight boss, and the other bosses, the fight is gonna last a few seconds only. So you want to deal as much damage as possible in the short period of time. And that's what I'm gonna use for that. Same Avian, same relics, but now I'm gonna use the clone strategy, and for that I'm gonna need the magic carpet and the Eye of Raven artifact to try my luck and obtain multiple times the clones. I'm gonna use that back accessory to increase my damage at the beginning of the fight. I'm using the clone instead of the damage immunity and the worldly snare to increase my crit rate and crit damage. I'm not using the Hydro Sprite anymore because I'm not gonna survive enough time to cast my skills again. I'm using that one, otherwise the boss, I don't understand why, but at the beginning of the fight, he is one-shotting my clone if I am not reducing his attack speed. So that one is just here to secure my run, and so I have the clone and I can deal more damage at the beginning. So let's try that build in the Abyss. That's a really short fight. I need to retry multiple times if I want to be lucky enough to obtain the 3 clones. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, look at that. I have 3 clones, so directly, okay, that's super. You have exactly what happens. 1,700,000. So today I'm currently top 2 in that content, but that's mostly because that player has 4,000 more power than I using the same class, so he probably has a better build than the one he is using in PvP. And finally, my last build to help clearing waves or the Avian dungeon, you have that build. You have the vines to block enemies, you have a low cooldown on the skill, and they can't move when you are using the vines. Right after the vines, I'm using that bomb to lower their movement speed. I'm also using the snail to lower their movement speed, and you are gonna see that when you are using the vines, the bomb and the snail, they are gonna struggle a lot to reach your character. And so that's a really nice combo. The clone to increase my damage, the smoke bomb to do the same, and the worldly snare to deal more damage as well. I'm using the Hydro Sprite to recover my skills, that one to lower the damage I'm gonna take, more combo rate and more combo damage, more attack speed. I'm using that one to increase my attack speed, and my skill regen, and have an extra shield, the Eye of Raven to double my clone, and the Frog Mount to one-shot enemies. And I'm using these relics and that Avian to have more damage. So you can see how it works here. The vines prevent them from moving, then the bomb lower their movement speed, and look at that, they still can't attack me. The first wave is over, second wave is coming. I'm gonna reduce their movement speed one more time because the cooldown is really low. And there we go, I took no damage at all. I was able to kill them all. And in fact, it's working the same way in that content. But you need to add some delay on your skills. On the Durian Bomb I have 2 seconds and 1 second on the Vine. Generally I try to go in positions 1 and 3 so I can have a better skill regen on my heroes. So let's run the fight and let's see how it works. So I delayed by 1 second the vines because at the beginning you don't have every monster. Or one is already dead, now you have another one. Look at that, they can't move super fast. One has been one-shotted thanks to my mount. They are stuck again, only 2 remaining, and now they can damage us. So that's the trial 20, so it's still hard to beat. I'm still taking a lot of damage, but that strategy works pretty well. So let's try the second stage. Same comment, they are stuck, they can't move, now they move slower. I have 2 clones, so I deal more damage. That one has been just one-shotted by my mount. They are stuck again, and now they are at contact, and I'm starting to lose some HP. So that's still really hard to beat that content on the trial 20, but that's the most efficient build I found. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that if you can find another player using the same build as yours, you will pass that content without any trouble. At least, you will pass the waves without any trouble. Okay guys, that was all for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If it's the case, as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Have a nice day guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.